I think I've had this cloak since like 3rd grade. So I don't know if that shows that I'm still a big fan or I'm just getting old. Hey everyone, it's Paige from The Page Turner. Today I'm here to do my review of Harry Potter and the Cursed Child by J.K. Rowling, Jack Thorne, and John Tiffany. I know a lot of people have probably already done this review, but I just wanted to add my 2 cents to it because I have a lot of thoughts and feels that kind of came out when I started reading it, and at the end I was kind of a weird nostalgic mess, so here we go. So as most of you know, if you've read Harry Potter or watched the movies, at the very end of the 7th book, or the 7th movie, part 2, Harry Potter is there with Ron and Hermione, and they're sending off their kids to Hogwarts, and they look all, you know, teary-eyed and emotional about it, and Harry talks to one of his kids, whose name is Albus Severus Potter, named after, obviously, Albus Dumbledore and Severus Snape. And he's talking to him about being sorted into houses and, you know, just like, enjoy your time at Hogwarts, like, you're gonna be fine and everything. So that's where the Cursed Child starts up. It's at that point when Harry's kind of sending him off, and, you know, Albus is like a little first year, so he's a little scared, just like, you know, any of us would be. Like, Hogwarts is kind of intimidating, especially when you're living in the shadow of your father, which Albus is. I mean, he's Harry Potter, like, you can't really get more famous than that. Albus gets on the train, he meets a boy named Scorpius, who is Draco Malfoy's son, and they quickly become friends, but then Rose Weasley, which is Albus's friend from, you know, Hermione and Ron, she kind of tells him, like, you shouldn't be hanging out with the Malfoys, like, there's all these rumors surrounding that and stuff, and Scorpius is like, just ignore her, you know, but then he's also kind of infatuated with her. So there's a lot going on there too, but I don't want to get into too much of that. So anyways, they go off to Hogwarts, they become friends, they start hanging out, and it kind of like jumps quickly through the timeline. So we're jumping through 1st year and then 2nd year, and then things kind of pick up most in its 3rd year. So that's where things kind of get more, like, there's more drama and more, stuff from Harry and how he's working at the Ministry and what's going on with that. And then, you know, Hermione is Minister of Magic, and Ron, I couldn't exactly figure out what he did. I'm sure it's said, but I think I kind of like breezed by it. I think he works for the Ministry as well, but you know, he's typical Ron, like, he's a little clueless sometimes, but, you know, still the golden trio that we love. In the synopsis, it kind of makes it seem like most of the story is going to be from Harry's point of view, which it's not. It's actually from his son, Albus. And I almost preferred that, just because you still kind of have that innocence and, like, boyhood wonder, which was apparent, obviously, in the original series. I don't know why I keep saying original series. This is part of the series. Like, it's canon now, but we'll get back to that later. So I really liked the points when it's from Albus's point of view, and he's talking about, you know, his struggles with being Harry's son, and, like, he's just, you know, lost, and he's in not the Hogwarts house that he thought he would be in, and he's just kind of, you know, got all this, like, teen angst and, like, worry and all this. I really liked that part. And, you know, Harry is older, so he's gonna have, like, a little bit of a different voice in the story, but it wasn't necessarily, I think, what I wanted as far as, you know, Harry being older and grown up, because that part, like a lot of people have said, reads like fan fiction, which I don't necessarily agree with, because these are professional writers and playwrights, and it's not fan fiction. It's not. It reads in a way where it's obviously going to be different from 1 through 7, because, you know, Harry's older, and, like, he has more responsibilities, and, like, now he has kids, and he's married, and, like, they went through the war. Like, obviously he's gonna be a little, like, you know, emotionally distressed. So I do think, like, for an older Harry, it read well. It just wasn't, I think, what I wanted, which is why I liked Albus's point of views better. And then we also have Scorpius, you know, who's Malfoy's son, and I actually really enjoyed his point of view as well. And the couple of times that Malfoy came in and out of the picture and was interacting with Harry and Hermione and Ron, I actually really liked those interactions because it shows that, you know, he hasn't completely let go of what's happened, and like there's still a lot of resentment towards him and his family and like everything that's going on in the wizarding world. Like, despite the war being over, there's still a lot of bias in the wizarding community, which has been apparent since like pre-book 1. We knew that because that's how Voldemort came to power, and there's like racism and, you know, all that kind of stuff. So that's still like somewhat happening, but I think he handles it in a way that's very Malfoy, in the sense of like he's kind of like his father, you know, and he's like, I'm, you know, misrepresented and, you know, stuff like that, but he's also like, I'm not my father because I'm trying to be a good person and a father to my own son. So there's like, he's very dynamic as well, and I almost enjoyed his point of view better than Harry's, just because Harry we've heard so much of through 1 through 7, and Malfoy we kind of get this like other half sense of like, oh, he hates Harry, he hates Harry, he hates Harry, like we get it. But in the play, since it is a play and you can see it from kind of multiple perspectives, we kind of get this idea of who Malfoy is now, and he's suffering and he has a lot of grief, so I really enjoyed that as well. So what didn't I like? There was a couple things. So number one, I didn't enjoy so much at the very beginning that it was a play and it's not, you know, like a full-length novel, but I do find that the more you read it, the easier it is to just like fly through it and be like, oh yeah, this play actually kind of works, and like what I was talking about with Malfoy, you can see different perspectives and stuff, so that I enjoyed. I just wish that it had been a book, because we have always been hoping for, you know, another series or like another book, but it just wasn't meant to be, I guess, with this, and this satisfied our cravings as a fandom. I think just in the sense of like, now we have more material to talk about, and there's all these canons now and like fan fictions like resurging, you know, because now we have the younger kids and like all of that going on. But as far as it not being a novel, I was slightly disappointed in that. I mean, I was disappointed in that when we first heard about it, and I didn't even want to consider it as part of the series, because it's like, well, we have novels and then we have a play. So it is all, I think, depending on your own preference of, you know, what you like to read. Like, I don't typically read plays, but it did read very easily and quickly. And then as far as the plot itself, it was good. I thought it was original, and you know, there was parts of the old series that were woven in with the new kids, and obviously that's relevant and pertinent to their lives. So I really liked that and how that was like kind of woven together. So overall, I did give it 4 out of 5 stars, just because obviously it's Harry Potter. And I did mention in my review on my blog that I think part of my nostalgia for the old series and like having literally grown up with Harry Potter and like waiting at my door for the next one to come, like had a lot to do with, you know, reading this and being like, oh, I remember when that happened, and when they mentioned like characters who have died and just like stuff like that. It was like a good, you know, like a wholesome sort of story where it was like, these are my, you know, children, and like everybody loves Harry Potter, so like how can you not love Cursed Child, at least in the sense of like, well, it's Harry. And that's my thoughts. Have you read it yet? What did you think? Are you going to read it? I know a lot of people have said they're not going to read it, but I do think it's worth the read. Like, it's different for everyone, so I would definitely give it a shot. As always, subscribe, you know, to my channel, like, comments, follow me on Twitter, follow me on Tumblr, follow me on Instagram, follow my blog. I'm all over the internet. You can find me all down in the links below. But thanks for watching. Bye. It is like 1,000 degrees too, and I'm wearing this cloak. But I told, I don't remember her name on Twitter, but I told her I would wear it, and now it's like, okay, this is what you get for living in California, where it's like 100 degrees, like all the time. Of course, now I can't get it on. Am I doing this wrong? Yes. Honestly, how do people do this in like one shot? Because I just can't.